Hi, everybody. It's a delight to have you joining us today. My name is Josh Craig, and I'm really pleased to be moderating today's scholarships and awards question and answer. My role at the university is as a recruitment officer with the University of Toronto, and very often in my role, I find myself giving advice and answers to questions. And so it's a real pleasure today to be in the role of a moderator. And I've got some wonderful colleagues here, co-hosts, panelists with me. We're here to answer your questions. We've got lots of representation. We've got my good friend Lorraine, who is from our Central Awards office, who will be a great value to you all. We've got divisional representation here today with our friend Anna, who is here to answer any specific questions related to divisional award questions. And I'm really delighted to also welcome a former or a current national scholar at the University of Toronto, Jamar Norik, who will be here to give us a great perspective of a student. It's something that I rarely get to offer as I graduated from U of T many years ago. So with that, we're going to get the ball rolling, and we'll begin with a really general question, sort of to introduce us all to the idea of what today's session is going to be. And I'll go to you, Lorraine. What types of student awards are available at the University of Toronto?
Absolutely. Just wanted to say thank you for having me on this panel today. Welcome to all who are joining us. We're delighted to be able to comment on the diverse range of student awards that are available to undergraduate students today at the University of Toronto. So just to provide you a little bit of a background or explanation of terminology, at UFT, when we say student awards, we are actually really including all the different types of funding and opportunities that are available to you. And these could be part of admission awards that are granted to incoming students, part of your in-course award granted to you as part of your current student status, or even graduating awards. But as you are prospective students, I'm sure you're excited to learn a little bit more about admission awards. So at the University of Toronto, we have over 5,000 admission scholarships that are granted, and these would total to an amount to almost $23 million that are granted as funding to incoming undergraduate students. These are available sometimes to domestic students, one of our major awards being the National Scholarship. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. But we also have awards that are open to international students, such as our major Lester B. Pearsons. For just a range, I would also want to comment and highlight our awards such as our President Scholars of Excellence, $10,000 that are coming in for students who have a really high admission grades, as well as a UFT Pearsons, which is $7,500. So you are getting a little bit sense of diverse award amounts that are granted to incoming students. But what I also want to clarify that these admission awards are not just based on admission grades. Of course, we want to recognize all your achievement, everything you've done as part of your high school studies. But we also understand the different really achievements apart from grades that are part of you being an awesome and excellent student. So we have scholarships that are based on different criteria, such as financial need, in addition to academic merit, highlighted in different ways. We also have awards that are open to students who are Indigenous. We have awards for Black students, first-gen students, students who've demonstrated leadership as part of their high school curriculum or their role in a particular community. So it's really awesome that we are able to provide you with such a diverse range, and we hope that you would take this opportunity to go and research and look into these.
Great response. Thanks so much, Lorraine. While we're talking about it, and you mentioned it, I think one of the great things about having a student be involved in the conversation today is to get that student perspective. And because we've got so many students joining us, I'd really like to invite Jamar to share his thoughts and feelings about the scholarship process that you went through applying and sort of what it's meant to you so far as a U of T student.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for having me today, by the way. Hello, everybody. My name is Jamar. I'm a third-year finance and economics student at Rotman Commerce here at U of T, and I'm current national scholar. So I'd love to walk through a bit about my experience kind of leading up to when I decided to apply to the scholarship and kind of the implications that have since been made happen since I got the award. So I kind of will start off with kind of applying with the for the National Scholarship. And it kind of began from me, having a dream to attend university, but not necessarily having the financial means to make that a reality. And I think that's the case for a lot of people, as obviously university becomes increasingly more expensive in today's day and age. So financial hardships are definitely something that I thought a lot about. And I realized that, if I wanted to attend the universities that I had my eyes set on, I was going to have some sort of financial assistance. And so scholarships came to mind. And, I realized that through a combination of some of the involvements that I was a part of throughout my kind of grade 11 and grade 12 years of high school, I realized I could be a competitive candidate for some of these scholarships. I was involved a lot with athletics, as well as some extracurricular involvements with the community around my hometown of Vancouver, as well as obviously having a competitive GPA at the time. So I realized that kind of U of T's National Scholarship would be a great opportunity for me. Obviously, a very long shot opportunity, as I was made aware of just how valuable the scholarship was and how many people it was awarded to. So this was obviously a very long shot opportunity for me, but I got a hold of the application process and really just sat down looking at that application and trying to see, if this could be a good fit for me, if I had some value to provide. And so I remember I was thinking about what I had to write for that creative essay, which was a part of the application that year. I'm not sure if it's the same now. And, I was stumped for many days thinking about what I wanted to talk about and write about. And, what came to me was the fact that the point of these applications is really just to show who you are as a person. And I tried to embody, my experiences as best as possible within whatever word limit I was given. And I really tried to pour my heart out into that response. And that's something that I guess resonated with people who were looking at my application all the way in Toronto. And one thing led to another. And a few weeks later, or might have been about a month later, I found out I was going to be a finalist for the scholarship. And that was something that was extremely motivating to me. It really felt that this could be a realistic opportunity. And that's something that I didn't necessarily think until I heard back for that first time. And it really then started to set in that I was going to be flown out to Toronto for the first time. I actually hadn't been to Toronto before. I just always dreamt about it because I had, some interest in finance. And that's kind of the main draw for me to Toronto, if you were wondering. Vancouver isn't all that bad of a place, but I did know that I wanted to kind of come over here to start out my career. So when I kind of fast forward into when I was flown out to the interview process, that was, such a surreal week for me. I got to meet all of the just fascinating people from across Canada and just so impressive with these students. I didn't necessarily know if I was up to the caliber of everyone else who was there, but I mean, believe me when I tell you, these people were doing such amazing things, and there's still people I stay in touch with to date. And it was just such a great week being able to be around all these like-minded individuals. And throughout the interviews that week, and that's kind of how they determine who will be the finalists, I got to kind of, really just foster in that point that I mentioned in my application, just being as genuine as possible, because you're trying to put a personality and a face to an otherwise completely online application. And that's something I really tried to remember in my interview process, really just showing that I was a person who thought they could bring value to this university, and just kind of demonstrating that through all of my interests throughout high school and all of the things that I think I'll be interested in moving into my undergraduate degree. And that was a level of genuinity that I really thought could be valuable in terms of the selection process, and it turned out to be a great fit. A couple weeks later, I heard back from the National Scholarship and found out that I was going to be a recipient. And when I tell you that was the most life-changing day of my life so far, it really was just such a really immeasurable feeling in terms of the value that brings to a family that otherwise, is not in a position of financial strength, to say the least. So, that was such a I kind of describe it as a positive resonance throughout my family. That kind of wave of hope and positivity that you really get from such a life-changing award is something that you can't, obviously I can't really put into words that well. So, that's such a big moment for me and my family. And since then I've kind of taken that opportunity as my foot in the door, as opposed to a prize for something I did in high school. I really did see this as kind of my opportunity to kind of come to the stage and not have to worry about all the financial hardships that you'd face kind of otherwise entering your undergraduate degree. So, when I was coming to the university, and after realizing that I could come and have my undivided attention being put onto my undergraduate degree, I knew I had high expectations, and I really needed to provide. So kind of, that impact that it had on my life, that was a great moment, but I knew that this was just the beginning type of thing. There was 4 years ahead of me, and then my whole career after that to really prove why this award deserved to go to me, and why, you know, this is going to be a great decision by the university. And that's something that I tried to embody in my involvements pretty much right off the bat. A couple of the great experiences that I got involved in my first year was I got to speak at the installation of Chancellor Rose Patten, which was, you know, such an amazing opportunity for me. I'd never really done public speaking before, and, you know, I got to meet the president of the university, among other administration, and I was really out of my depths, but, you know, kind of got thrown in the water right away, made tons of great connections with that. Which actually led to a couple different opportunities I got that I'll touch on later. But as well, I got involved with all the great different groups on campus. You know, at U of T, there's just such a wide array of people who are trying to get interested in different things. You're going to find so many people who like the same things as you or don't like the same things as you, and you kind of get thrown into this big melting pot of people, and you just get to learn from everyone. And I got involved in some cultural groups. I was the financial director of the Black Students Association last year. This year, I am an analyst for Toronto Student Investment Council, which is a great investment club that I'm interested in. A couple others thrown in there. I did keep playing. I did keep my athletics up. I play on the Development League soccer team, which was great. Not quite as big of a commitment as my soccer playing in high school. I was playing at elite level in Vancouver back in my high school days, so definitely took the foot off the gas for the athletic portion, and tried to kind of make sure I was getting a high GPA here, and got to focus on some more career related things. A lot of these different involvements kind of, you know, really just trying to tap into the different corners of the university. Obviously, you're not going to have the time to get involved in everything you want to be, but I think I tried to cover the 3 basis points, which is the community involvement, the athletic involvement, and obviously your curricular involvement. So, and kind of the thing I wanted to take the most value out of is, obviously, coming into the university, you want to have a really positive impact on your undergraduate experience, but ultimately your undergraduate experience is going to lead into what hopes to be a very successful career. And so I tried to definitely get started with that very early. So in my first year, through one of the connections I made at my speech at the installation of the Chancellor, I kind of made some connections there and got an internship at TELUS for my first year summer. I was working in supply chain management there, which was really fun for me, kind of just getting my first office job. I did want to work more in capital markets, as I realized over the course of the first 2 years of my undergrad, kind of just getting involved in the different classes there. That was just great for me. And so my second year, which is this past year's summer, I was actually working in sales and trading at Bank of Montreal in Vancouver, which was awesome for me. That was also something that kind of came as a product of the different extracurriculars I was involved in, namely Toronto Student Investment Club. And then this coming summer, I'll be working investment banking at BMO as well, but this time in Toronto. So we'll officially be moving out to Toronto for the better part of the full year. So I can kind of start to consider myself as a true Torontonian, I hope. But yeah, that's kind of the amalgamation of the different involvements I've been a part of. And, you know, really just circling back to, none of this would have been possible if I didn't just think on that one day to apply for the National Scholarship. I had no clue that I was going to be where I am today. And, you know, I'm just so thankful and grateful for those opportunities that I've had. And I really do hope that I can just start to reciprocate some of that value that has been shed onto me by the university back into the university and into the surrounding community, and hopefully try to make a lasting impact on not only the university, but my field of study. So that's kind of my, you know, looking back on where I am. It's obviously only been about just over 2 years now that I've been at U of T. You know, it's so many great things have happened, so many amazing opportunities. And I do think that this is just the beginning, and there's so much more to come. And that's opportunity that only is made possible through an award like the National Scholarship. And that's why I'm just, you know, so grateful and so proud to be able to say I'm a National Scholar here at U of T. So I'll kind of wrap it up there. Hopefully that was, you know, not too much, but that's kind of just a glimpse into my life. Do really recommend anyone thinking of applying for the National Scholarship to do so, or any other scholarship, even if you don't think, you know, maybe you don't think there's tons of other people out there who may be better suited. You never know just when there might be a great fit with the university, and they do a great job of recognizing potential and talent. So, you know, definitely encourage everyone to apply.
Jamar, thank you so much. You know, that is the kind of response that a moderator's dreams are made of. The segues abound. There's so many connections we can make there. So maybe what I'm going to do here is help set the stage for some of our audience here. You know, you mentioned a couple of great things, and I think the main theme of that it was, you know, just how important taking a look at scholarships, putting your hat into the ring, you could say. And so maybe I'll ask a quick question to Lorraine and then a follow-up question to Anna. Can you tell us quickly, Lorraine, what's the difference between like an international scholarship and those available for international students versus those that were made available to students like Jamar, domestic scholarships?
Absolutely, great question, and thank you, Jamar, for actually highlighting the national scholarship. So I would like to just provide a little bit of kind of idea to folks out there who are looking to find out more about student awards. If you are an international student and you're looking to find out, okay, what's out there, what's available to me as an international student, one of the key tools I just want to highlight to you is the Awards Explorer. If you haven't really discovered that before, or you haven't come across it, do go into the tool. It's something that's designed explicitly for students who are looking to find out about awards. Now, international students who are coming to UFT, normally we would be expecting students to provide some of your own funding for your education here at the University of Toronto. However, we are also looking to attract awesome, excellent students here to UFT. So we've designed really awesome international scholarship awards to make sure that you are also recognized for your academic achievements, leadership skills, and your talent that you've actually been developing all through high schools. So one of the awards that's very much comparable to the National Scholarship is the Lester B. Pearson. So if you're an international student and you're like, what's out there? What's a full ride scholarship that would be available to me, and full ride being something that covers tuition, residence, and also provide you a living stipend. Check out the Lester B. Pearson. It is something that is nominated through your high school. So check out the website, which is the Pearson website, and you'll be able to just look at the requirements, see what your high school participation or involvement is, and go from there. It's an awesome scholarship. But in addition to that, we have International Scholar Awards, we have the President Scholars of Excellence, and also the UFT Scholarship that's also available to international students. So I think there is sometimes a myth out there that as an international scholar or international student, the awards or scholarships are limited, but it's actually not true. At UFT, we've taken great care to make sure that there is a representation from across the world, and we really want to make sure that your talent is really recognized, and you are also eligible for admission scholarships here at UFT. So check out Awards Explorer, and you'll see a wide range. And students who are domestic here, that's paying domestic fees, or expecting to pay domestic fees to the University of Toronto, we have a large slew of awards. So just to give you a little bit of stats, always interesting to see numbers. We have over 7,000 awards that are in the Awards Explorer category. And out of those, a large group are admission awards. So when you're going in there to the filter, check the filter, make sure it's set to admission awards, and you'll see pages and pages of it, and just find out what are the ones that meet your needs and the ones that you would be interested in applying. And maybe Anna would be able to touch on that as well for your divisional awards that are offered through the University of Toronto Mississauga campus, and just comment a little bit on those for our students.
Sure, great. Thank you so much, Lorraine, and thank you for having me today. So hello, everyone. Welcome to our session. So as Lorraine mentioned, my name is Anna Gutz, and I'm the Scholarships and Awards Officer at UTM. So specifically awards at UTM, we do offer a number of entrance admission awards to both international and domestic students. Majority of our awards that we offer are posted on our website, so we encourage you to check out our website, see what's available. There's actually opportunities on there right now for current students, but at least it would give you a sense to what's upcoming for next academic year. As Lorraine also mentioned, our fabulous in-house open to the public scholarship system. Award Explorer is a wonderful tool to explore opportunities, and at any opportunities that we offer at UTM or on a divisional level, they would be listed in Award Explorer. And as Lorraine mentioned, you can go ahead and filter based on your citizenship. And there's a number of opportunities available there. Also, specifically for UTM, we do offer admission scholarships. Our admission scholarships are what we refer to as guaranteed entrance awards for UTM. They're based actually on students' admitted average to the university. So depending on where your admitted average falls, there's actually a grid on our website. The grid provides you the value, the range for the admitted average, and then the actual scholarship value. And once again, these scholarships are available to both domestic and international students. We also offer entrance awards that are based on community involvement, leadership, academic merit. Some of these may be paper-based applications, or applications that you actually have to submit an application for, and or an opportunity that you have to submit an application for, as opposed to being just automatically considered for a scholarship. So like I mentioned, opportunities are listed both on Award Explorer as well as UTM's divisional website. You could go on there and browse what's available.
Fantastic responses, and again, Lorraine, wonderful to throw it to Anna, because that was going to be my question for Anna. Is can you tell us a little bit about the divisional funding? So that's the teamwork makes the dream work. Lots of questions coming into the chat, and a couple talking about. Are there restrictions around the combination of scholarships? Can students be considered for multiple awards? Are they in a position to apply for multiple awards? How does that work? Is a student choosing one opportunity, or can they toss their hat into the ring for a number? How does this bear out on the landscape?
I think that's a great question, and I'm glad somebody's asking that right now. So whoever it is, great job, because that's a really great place to start. Let me just start by saying a majority of the University of Toronto awards are stackable or combined. So usually that's how we usually would note it. If you are given an offered an admission award as part of your offer letter, there will be a notation if there is any restriction. Be assured that majority of our awards, there is no restriction on combining them. In fact, at the university, we encourage you to look about combining awards. Two awards I would like to mention that have restrictions on combining are the Nationals Scholarship Program and the Lester B. Pearson. And the rationale behind it is because these awards are extremely generous in nature. They cover tuition, residence, and plus a stipend. We want to make sure that those students are aware that that amount would be more than enough to cover their expenses here at the University of Toronto. But for any other awards, we encourage you to apply for all the opportunities that are suitable and are available to you out there. Actually actively look at combining not only UFT awards with each other, but look at combining UFT awards with external awards. There are communities, organizations out there that would also offer you awards for your studies at a post-secondary institution. So look into those as well, research them. If you have any questions, always ask the organization, hey, if I get a UFT award, can I actually combine it with your award? A majority of the organizations will say yes, because I think, as Jamar has mentioned, sometimes educational expenses can really start to mount out. You're looking at your tuition, but you're also looking at books, equipment, technology expenses. So most of the organizations, including the FT, is very much well aware of it, and we would like you to take advantage and be very resourceful in how you're looking at funding. If you have a EFT award, look to see if you can combine it with another one. Majority of our students do it. In fact, for this round alone, students who admitted for 2020, I was actually pulling a report last week, and I noticed a number of our students actually received more than one award. And it was really great to see that. So you could get an award from the university-wide centers, or we call them central scholarships. So those are scholarships that are open to students across the 3 campuses, but you might also be getting an award from a college, from maybe your faculty faculty from your division, one of the campuses, and you could actually stack them, and those would be very helpful for you, I'm sure, while you're thinking about coming to UFT and thinking about how to really be fully strategic, but also mindful of how you're covering your expenses while you're here as a post-secondary student.
Again, a fantastic response. Now, Jamar mentioned something in his answer to the first question that piqued my interest. I think it piqued the interest of a number of students on the chat. So I've got a question for both Lorraine and Anna, and then a follow-up question for Jamar on his opinion and experience in this. But lots of questions about athletic scholarships. Our friends in the United States are famous for offering really substantial athletic-based scholarships. Are things like that available? And again, what piqued my interest was Jamar's elite soccer playing. I enjoy a game of soccer, and I'm proud to say I'm nowhere near elite. But how are student athletes to approach a scholarship investigation at U of T?
I can touch upon it a little bit, and Anna, feel free to jump in and just supplement my information as well. So as an athlete, I mean, it's no different than any other student looking for any of our other awards at the University of Toronto. Award Explorer does highlight any scholarship or award that has athlete as one of the criteria. So if you went and explored it, you would see that UFT does recognize those skill sets and would actually be able to point you in the direction where we have a number of scholarships that are offered for students either as part of a varsity team or who is really great in a specific athletic skills. In addition to that, what I would comment is we do understand that there are different ranges that are available to students in terms of athletic awards. Sometimes there are league requirements and that would apply for us as well. So those would be noted in the information when you're looking it up on Awards Explorer. So if there was any league requirement or league restriction, it would be indicated as part of the award. In terms of a tip, I would add that as an athlete, just don't look for awards which have athletic award in its criteria. Just because you're an athlete doesn't really restrict you from different other kinds of awards. So look and explore other avenues. You can even look to see what are awards that are in the leadership category, what are awards even in first generation. Just be curious when you are setting your filter. One of the tips for the Awards Explorer is don't restrict yourself only to one or two criteria. Keep it open, see what's available out there, and that'll just maybe open up a door you haven't explored before. And you would like to maybe add to that?
Oh, thank you, Lori. Yes, so no, I was just I was going to say the same thing, encouraging students not to only explore a specific skill set. I think getting looking at community involvement, or whether it was, or awards based on community involvement from your high school. It's better to be looking at awards from a broader perspective than maybe narrowing down on one specific portion of it, like athletics. But yes, we do. UTM as well has a number of different awards that are available to students who are exploring athletic skills, and those usually are posted on our website. And like Lorraine mentioned, everything is available as well on Award Explorer.
So that kind of directs me to my follow-up question. And again, you guys are providing fantastic segues. We're saying cast the net wide, be creative when you're looking at your filters. My question for Jamar is, I mean, the National Scholarship is not, an athletic scholarship per se, but I'm starting to suspect that you might note that maybe some of your experience as an athlete helped play into the responses you gave, your attitude towards study and the scholarship. Could you shed any light on how maybe some of your experiences that weren't necessarily directly related to academics, I think maybe helped in the acquisition of that scholarship?
Absolutely. I mean, I would say I probably spent 90% of my free time leading up to university playing soccer. So it was a massive part of my personality, if not, my resume and my CV. I would say it was virtually my only serious commitment up until about grade 12, when I started to try to broaden my horizons a little bit. So from that lens, you know, that athletic portion definitely played a huge part in me receiving the national scholarship. Like Josh mentioned, it's not explicitly an athletic scholarship, but they award it to a person and not necessarily a specific type of person. It's they kind of look for the cumulative sum of who you are. And for me, that was a huge part of that was athletics. And so that's kind of why that was definitely a huge aspect of that. I definitely did explore the path of playing varsity sports and looking for some more of the direct funding for athletics. But the reality in Canada, at least, is that there's not as much money going towards athletics as there is academics. And that's kind of that did play a huge part into my decision to kind of pivot a little bit away from the quote unquote elite soccer that I was playing, and kind of move more into trying to focus on those academic initiatives. And so that's kind of I definitely communicated that within my interviews for the national scholarship, obviously saying and accrediting my sports for a huge amount of the perseverance, the determination, and the discipline that I have as a person today. And so that's obviously something they really do look for. And I think that will definitely apply to some of the more broad scholarships that are offered and not necessarily the ones that are specifically for athletics. You can definitely use your athletic experience to prove many other points that won't necessarily result in you playing a specific sport or doing a specific thing for the university. And that was the case for me for sure. I mean, there's definitely opportunities for you if you're really stellar at a specific sport to be compensated for that. But that wasn't the case for me. I definitely took a lot of the lessons that I had from my sports and applied those to different ways. And you'll notice throughout your life that sports definitely play a massive part in any aspect of your life.
Wonderful response. Just a quick note to our viewers before we move on to the next question. I got a couple of questions coming up here related to things like grants and financial aid. And this session is a little bit more focused on, you know, scholarships and awards of that nature. So just for those students that are tuning in and interested in that, we've had two sessions, one last Sunday and one just yesterday, on things like financial aid. And they're available on demand right now. So you can pop back, take a look, and review those sessions at your leisure. A really good resource, and I guess one of the benefits of having a virtual event, as much as we always like to see people in person. Now, one quick question, just hoping to sort of clarify some things. Especially for some folks that may have joined us late, there is a couple of questions about, you know, how many scholarships may be granted in any given year. Because again, we've got folks that are joining us partway through the session. I know we mentioned off the top sort of the number of awards available and how much they amount to, but if we could just go over that information again, it would be great.
Sure, Joshua, I'll repeat the stats a little bit. So for admission awards across the 3 campuses, for example, we do give a number of awards out to students. So 5,000 admission awards per year are granted to incoming students. So when you're actually exploring a particular scholarship, don't kind of be deterred by it by thinking that there is only going to be one recipient. In a number of cases, for example, even with our EFT scholars, for that particular scholarship, admission scholarship alone, we grant that scholarship to over 900 recipients, paid recipients. So that is quite a number of recipients, and we hope that for those who are joining us on this chat today, you might even be one of them next year. So that would be awesome. But just know that just because there is an award which says, oh, President Scholars of Excellence, $10,000, it's not just one recipient who's going to get that $10,000. It's actually going to be quite a number of them normally, and for the President Scholars of Excellence, a few hundred of them could even end up getting that in a particular year. Our objective always is to have a funding given to as many students out there as possible. I think that's always the intention. Apply to as many as possible, and try to make sure that you're leveraging all different kinds of funding. Don't worry too much about the details when you're applying. Don't be deterred by it, thinking that this is only one recipient, so this is going to be extremely challenging. Don't let that enter your mind. Just if you meet the minimum eligibility requirement, just apply for it. And then you'll find out when the decisions come out. You most likely would, like Jamar, would be pleasantly surprised, and I hope that happens to you.
Well, you finished with a brilliant sort of tip of the hat to the next question I was going to ask about minimum requirements. Lots of students asking questions, especially about those merit-based awards related to, what kind of minimum grades? What sort of grades do I need to be generally considered competitive for an award? Could you shed some light on that, Anna and Lorraine?
Anna, would you like to take that on, and I can add?
Absolutely. Sorry, I lost you guys there for a minute. So UTM specifically, our entrance awards are based on admitted averages to the university. As mentioned before, that grid, so it's a grid that we refer to, is actually posted on our website. So for example, if your admitted average to the university is between 90% and 91.9%, then you're eligible to receive a $2,000 award. If your average is between 92 to 94.9%, then you're eligible to receive a $3,000 award. And if your average is above 95%, admitted average to the university, you're eligible to actually receive a $3,000 award that's renewable over 4 years. So that means you're getting a total of $12,000 just based on admitted averages to the university from your high school grades. And these awards are actually stackable. So it does not stop. So students, I mean, Lorraine did mention a couple of awards where you're not eligible to stack, but UTM entrance awards, you are eligible to stack. So if you're receiving one of the University of Toronto Scholar Awards, then you're also eligible to stack it with a UTM entrance award. So it's great. And in terms of averages for some of our other entrance awards, anywhere we would say above 80% as a high school average, you would be considered for some of our other donor-based entrance awards, ones that you have to submit applications that are maybe based a little bit more on community involvement than maybe academic merit per se.
One thing that I might take a moment to clarify there as well, because we've got a wide range of audience members. When we talk about sort of the grids and posted minimum averages, what we're usually referring to is students who are filling out the OUAC 101 application. Those are students coming from Ontario. For students that are coming from outside of Ontario, whether that's elsewhere in Canada or elsewhere in the world, we don't necessarily post a grid of those particular averages. But I think the theme of Anna's answer was great, which is that we're really looking for, really competitive top marks in sort of that upper tier of the graduating class. So that's just something to clarify. It doesn't mean that those merit-based awards aren't there for 105s. It just means that we're not necessarily posting the minimum averages. And that's something that would be important to point out, especially because I deal with international students so often. Okay. A question, again, to sort of get back to this, and you guys just like, you're feeding me all of this great information as I come to the different questions. We talked about stackable awards, and we mentioned it a little bit earlier as well. Just for some of those that are just joining us now, to reiterate and to clarify, are awards like the National Scholarship and the Lester B. Pearson Award stackable? Can you combine them with other awards?
So for the Nationals and the Pearsons, these awards are what we call Fulbright scholarships. It means that they are covering your tuition as well as residence and providing even a stipend for you while you're here at the University of Toronto. So when you are admitted, you normally would not be able to stack them with another admission award per se, because you've actually been granted funding for at least your first, the 4 years of your undergraduate degree. However, what I would like to add to that is if you are a national or the Pearson, you actually may still, while you are a EFT student, be eligible for what we called in-course awards. And sometimes students are excited to hear about that because they're like, what, more awards? I mean, you're like, yes, it's actually true. So you could actually, I know Jamar's laughing because of course he knows about this. So you've got your nationals or your Pearsons or any of the other admission awards, even it applies to everything. So if you're a great student academically, or you're great in terms of your leadership role, if you've done something amazing in terms of your community engagement, you're eligible to apply for other in-course awards, and those are awards you would apply as a UFT student as part of your first, second, third, or even a fourth year as part of your graduating. And based on the different awards that we offer, you would still be eligible to be considered for it, and you could still actually receive awards and different award values as part of UFT students. So I guess really to close it, normally you wouldn't be able to combine other admission awards with your nationals and the Pearsons because you've been given full funding. But while you are a EFT student, if you have demonstrated that you've now really been awesome in your academics, or you've done something really amazing in different criteria like leadership, engagement, you're still eligible for other awards. So make use of this, learn about them, explore, and as I keep saying, just keep applying.
Thanks for that. That's a great response. So I've got a question. I'm a domestic student, okay? I have status in Canada. I'm a Canadian citizen. Maybe I'm a permanent resident, but I'm going to school outside of Canada. So I'm a little confused. Am I an international student? Am I a domestic student? And in that case, I'm Canadian, but I'm studying outside of Canada. Which awards am I eligible for, the international or the domestic?
Mm-hmm. Very good question. It is very interesting to see how many of our Canadian or students with Canadian citizenships or even PR statuses actually are studying overseas for high school studies. So we, from an awards perspective, would view these students as domestic students because we would be looking at your legal status, and if you are domestic, you have your Canadian citizenship, your PR, or you have a refugee status, convention refugee status as well, you're eligible to apply as a domestic student for any of our domestic awards. So that should hopefully be pretty straight and simple. What I would like to really clarify is we have a group of awards that we called awards profile. Anything that falls under the awards profile really is open to domestic students who are explicitly studying within Canada. So if you come across that and you're like, this is different, well, it is a little different because it is open to students who do have the domestic legal status, but it's also only open to students who are doing their high school within Canada itself, but it's made very clear at the time of applying or as part of your application. So if you come across the awards profile, there's usually a link that will take you to the eligibility criteria, and it will state there for your reference as well. But note that just one group of awards, there are so many others out there that don't have that restriction.
Well, maybe while I've got you, could you tell me a little bit more about the awards profile? What is it? Why does it exist? And what benefit does it have to the students who are eligible for it?
Of course. So the awards profile, I mean, and I'll completely agree that it is not the best name. We're actually thinking, we're wondering if it should actually be renamed at some point in time. The awards profile just refer to a group of awards that are open to domestic students who are doing their post-secondary within Canada, where the awards criteria are not just based on merit. In fact, sometimes they're not based on merit alone. We wanted to provide an opportunity for incoming students to really highlight all the other things that they're so great at. So sometimes it could be leadership, sometimes it could be community engagement. And we've been really grateful to our donors who've actually contributed and helped to establish these kinds of awards. So they have criteria that are apart from just your grades in high school alone. It provides students an ability to actually highlight those in the awards profile application, and enables us to select you as a recipient so that you can actually use these funds. When you are applying as part of your OUAC application, once you get joined, you will be directed and given the link to actually start your awards profile. It is always given to you as an option. I would highly recommend that you complete it, even though it says it's optional. Even if you think maybe this is not something, I don't know for what reason you might not want to complete, just complete it. It does give you ability to really self-identify also in specific kind of areas. For example, there is a section, and you'll come across if you're considering applying for it. There is a section where it will explain to you that we have a number of funding that is for students who would self-identify as Indigenous students. We have funding for Black students. We have funding also for first-generation students. We also have funding for a very interesting criteria, like you have to be from North Bay and be in a specific postal code. Some of these awards have been set up a few years ago by some really incredible donors. And so you might not even know what's out there. So if you actually are considering and thinking, should I or shouldn't I complete the awards profile, please do. And when you get to that self-identification section, I do encourage you to feel comfortable, and I hope you would be comfortable in self-identifying as either an Indigenous student, Black student, a first-generation student. If you are, because this information, we don't use it for any statistical purpose at all. The information is very much protected, and the only time we would use it is really to have that information so that we can match you to the funding that is set up for students who are meeting these particular categories.
Okay, I'm going to give Lorraine a chance to take a break because she's been doing a great job covering so much. I'm going to throw a question to Jamar, and then I'm going to throw a question to Anna. Jamar, Lorraine mentioned, National Scholarship and Pearson Award winners can certainly look into in-course or in-program scholarships. And I'm wondering, as a national scholar, have you taken advantage of any of those or investigated any of those opportunities?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you think about the National Scholarship, it technically is an admissions award, meaning that it's based upon merits that you achieved before you actually got to the university. And so obviously, once you get to the university, you're still going to want to have some incentives to perform really well, if not just to justify the National Scholarship itself, but to also, get some of these extra awards and that extra funding that's available. So definitely, there's tons of awards within the specific colleges that you'd be a part of, depending on, your certain GPA or your specific involvements within the university. There's just tons of opportunity, and there's hundreds of awards there that are just kind of doled out based upon that. So that was definitely something that I didn't necessarily expect or know much about coming into there, but was a pleasant surprise after my first year, realizing that there was still some ways to have some extra funding. And there is, although the National Scholarship does cover kind of that full ride designation, there's still expenses such as books, transportation, technology, lots of things that can better your studies that U of T will compensate you for. And that's just an added incentive to perform really well throughout all the years of your study. And kind of there's always room for improvement, and U of T will always kind of recognize that, is how I reflect on that. So definitely a great opportunity to explore, and don't think that, if you get a specific award, then you can just kind of sit back and relax. There's I think always room for improvement and another prize to win.
Jamara, if you weren't so busy being an excellent student at U of T, I'd ask you to join me on every one of my my broadcast presentations, and I'd throw to you with those kinds of questions. So Anna, it's sort of a circling back, a term that we use way too much these days on all of our online meetings, but circling back to something that you discussed earlier, a certain scenario I want to pose to you and see what your response would be. So I'm a student, I'm a 101 student, I've applied to UTM, let's say, University of Toronto, Mississauga, and I'm lucky enough to have received one of those entrance awards, one of those admissions awards. What if my grades change before the end of the year? Hopefully they go up. Could I expect a change or adjustment in the award?
So unfortunately, no. So we do not reassess based on averages. So if your marks did go up, unfortunately, it will not be reassessed. And however, if your marks do go down, then it will not be reassessed as well. So you'll keep your initial award that you received, that you were offered at the time you received your offer to UTM.
Awesome, succinct answer, and I know a lot of students were asking that question. So another question here, because I think a lot of students feel like they're under a lot of pressure. They're not just applying to universities, they're not just throwing themselves into the ring when it comes to, you know, awards and things like that. They're also trying to finish high school and do well. What about a student who has some concerns? I get this question all the time when I'm doing presentations. Does my application for a particular scholarship have any bearing or impact on my admissibility to the university? I think that generally comes from a place where a student says, you know, like Jamar encouraged students to do, let me just throw myself out there. Let me try. What's the harm in trying? Well, what if I try and I don't get the award? Could that negatively impact my admissions to the university?
No.
Absolutely not. No, in any, no, not at all. I think Lorraine jumped to answer as well. No, we encourage students to apply for anything that they can. So whether it's, you know, at first it would be admission scholarships, and it's later on in-course scholarships, but wherever you can submit an application, external, internal within U of T, we encourage everyone to submit applications, and it has absolutely no negative impact on your actual offer of admission to the university.
Great response, and there you have it, folks at home watching. You have no reason to be bashful or to hesitate to put yourself towards there. So a couple of other questions coming in here. So, you know, when I'm a 101 student, let's say, coming from a high school in Ontario, when you're looking at these admissions awards, are they based on my entire grade 12 academic record? Are they based on my average throughout 4 years, or are they based on those top 6 marks coming from high school students?
So admission scholarships are normally based on your admission average. So it would be based at the time that you were admitted into the University of Toronto. If grade 12 grades are available, we'll definitely take a look at them. If at the time of your admission, not all your grade 12s grades were available, if there's just interim, we'll look at that in addition to some of your grade 11s. In the past, for at least central awards that open to students for coming or admitted into the 3 campuses, we do generally look at the top 6. But what we've also discovered, which is very interesting, is the same students who actually do really well in the top 6 also seem to have a very great overall average. So, so it kind of works really well for that particular group.
Great, thanks for that response. So one of the other questions, I can't believe the hour is almost done. We've got just about 9 minutes left. And so one of the questions I'd really like to ask here is, if for an international student, we're looking at, you know, the Pearson Award is always so popular. It's always something that a lot of schools are now coming to terms with. And I know we mentioned some of this earlier, but again, for folks that are just joining us, is that an international student's only opportunity, or is it worth going to that Awards Explorer website? Will an international student find a host of other awards available to them?
Absolutely, Joshua. The Lester B. Pearson is just one of the scholarship that's available to international students. In fact, just yesterday, I was a little bit curious because our awards keep changing all the time, in the sense that we keep adding new awards to it. And I would just went to the Awards Explorer myself and just kind of filtered. I was like, what's available to students out there for international students? And I got pages and pages of it. And pages of pages means one page was at least 10 awards or more on one page. And I was like, that's fantastic. It means that for students, the Lester B. Pearson is not the only award. So you, as an international student, if you're looking to consider it, that's fantastic, but don't stop there. Know that there are others out there. Some are usually just automatic. So some of those awards, we would just automatically consider you as part of your admission to the university, but others might require an additional application. So keep an eye out for those and apply for the Lester B. Pearson as well as all the other ones out there.
So here comes that term again, circling back. I've got a really excellent question from the chat here, and I'm going to ask Anna. Anna, I've applied to all 3 campuses at U of T. I've taken advantage of that OUAC application. I've leveraged the fact that I can apply to all 3 campuses, and I'm being told I'm getting an admissions award. Is that admissions award specific to a campus, or is it available? Is that same award available at all 3 campuses?
So no, usually they're campus specific. I know based on the offer for the campus that you applied for in your offer letter and your scholarship letter, that's usually sent up a week after. It would be campus specific. So if you're coming to UTM, you're accepting an offer, we're offering you a specific scholarship. If you're going to the Scarborough campus, for example, UTSC, they could be offering you a different entrance scholarship. But as well, in your offer letter, we would include any central scholarships that you're eligible to receive. So those would be like the University of Toronto Scholars Award or the President's Excellence Award. So those are central awards that are offered, and those would be offered in conjunction to the campus or the division that you're applying for.
Thanks so much for that. Now, when I do presentations, students are always asking me, what my advice would be, what's my recommendation, and I'm always happy to try and provide it because I feel like I was a U of T student just last year, and of course I realized I was a new U of T student almost 18 years ago. So I'm going to throw a question to Jamar because he's got such relevant current student experience, and with about 6 minutes left, I was wondering if Jamar, if you could share any words of wisdom for any of the students on the chat right now, specific to awards. If you could give them one bit of advice, what would it be?
Absolutely. Well, it's definitely a question I've thought a lot about, and it's a pretty heavy one. But I would say it kind of comes down to do your best to convey who you are as a person and what inspires you as a person to the university, because that's ultimately what the university is looking for. They're looking to see if there's a student here that is very capable, very smart, which a lot of people are, but is also inspired and is going to have an upward trajectory in their potential. That can be something that's pretty difficult to convey online for a lot of people. And, for most of the awards, you're not going to have a chance to interview face-to-face with someone. So ultimately just try to foster that energy that you have, just try to talk a lot about the things that you're truly passionate about. And that passion is going to go a long way to the person on the other end that's reading that. And that's, at the end of the day, that's what the main criteria is. It's to see if you're a passionate individual who's going to be able to tackle all of the challenges that are thrown at you throughout your undergraduate experience. So kind of just my one piece of advice would just be really to foster that. Spend time thinking about who you are and what motivates you and what you're passionate about, and then talk about those things. You're not going to get very far trying to fake all the things you're interested in and try to talk about a lot of different fluffy things that you may not really be interested in, but you think sound cool. That's not what they're really looking for. They're looking for, whether it be 10 things or one specific thing that you're involved with that you really like, as long as you can convey that type of energy and that type of motivation, that's going to translate to success, not only in your undergraduate experience, but your career afterwards. So that's definitely my one piece of advice. Just, focus on who you are, spend time thinking about that, and then do your best to genuinely convey that message.
So, I'm going to ask a very similar question as we're coming close to the end here to both Lorraine and Anna. And one of the reasons I want to throw the same question to both of you is, while you're not current students, I think a session like this goes a long way to showcase to students that there are real people behind all of these awards, real people who are working on assessing these awards. And it's not just an algorithm out there that's deciding whether or not a student is being selected. So Lorraine, maybe to you and then to Anna, what would your bit of advice be to our students listening in today?
I think I would just concur with Jamar said, and for students who are looking to apply for awards, just be yourself. Know that there is usually a selection committee that includes a very diverse group of people who definitely will be able to read through your application and know if this is you being you, truly you. Is it a sincere application? Have you actually really sincerely outlined your interest, your rationale, your reason for why you would like to come to UFT and study, and why you're looking to be selected for this particular award? Our selection committee comprises of normally academics, staff, students, alums, students from diverse backgrounds, and we are looking to make sure that we are able to also select diverse students who do reflect the current UFT community. don't pay too much attention on, okay, who was the recipient last year or the year before, because every year we would like to highlight and recognize different students who bring with them different passions, different life experiences, and different energy that we would like to include as part of our current EFT Award recipient awesome group. So for students out there, that's basically it. Just be true to yourself and write down what you feel reflects all the summation of you, of who you are and your life experiences.
I feel like a moderator in a political debate right now. We've got about 1 minute, maybe 30 seconds. Anna, any thoughts? And then I can close, give some closing remarks.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything that Jamar and Lorraine had to say. The only other advice that I would give is to get involved. So get involved on campus, get involved on off campus. Scholarships are based on community involvement. So that would be my only tidbit of advice.
Well, I just want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for taking time out of what is a very busy schedule to join us today to give some really, really well-considered answers to some really important questions coming from the students. And I think if a lesson can be learned from today's conversation, it's exactly what our three panelists have sort of brought forward. Take a chance on yourself. Put yourself forward for an award like this. And remember that even if you're not met with success the first time, year after year, there are in-program and in-course scholarships there to recognize just what a strong student you are and what a passionate student you are. So I just want to take one last second. Thank you all for taking some time. And I look forward to speaking to you again. Take care. Cheers.
Take care all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.